Beneath the colorful tapestry of everyday life in Nigeria, a silent epidemic is taking hold. Diabetes. This disease, often overshadowed by more visible health crises, is quietly ravaging lives and fracturing families. Nigeria is home to over 200 million people, 11 million of which have diabetes, some without them even knowing. Once considered a disease of affluence, diabetes now affects millions of Nigerians across all socioeconomic classes. 1 out of every 17 adults in Nigeria is living with the disease.
I was diagnosed in 2019. That year, I had a long and very productive year at
The
work.
rise in diabetes in Nigeria is closely tied to shifts in lifestyle and diet.
And I had started to put on weight. I noticed
While
that
traditional
my feet
Nigerian
were,
foods are rich in
fat.
culture,
I had
many are high in
strokes,
carbohydrates and sugars.
and I was pretty much exhausted the entire time. The first time, I think I was working late, this 10 p.m. at work. I was working, and then I noticed that I couldn't feel my right side. I didn't know what was happening, so I managed to slid under the table and just stayed there until it passed. I wasn't sure what was happening. I knew nothing about it. I just figured I was exhausted, and so I just slid under the table, my desk, until that passed. But I couldn't feel my right side for a bit. Scary now that I think about it. And so we went to the hospital. We thought it was malaria or something. Doctor was running a lot of he took a look at me and said, let's run these tests. So while we were speaking, I excused myself to go and pee. Came back, went to pee, came back, went to pee, came back, and he admitted me. Came back again. He wanted to be sure. Came back again, and he was talking to my mom while I was in the room. In the space of 5 minutes, I had gone to pee 10 times. And I'm not even exaggerating. And that was where he just asked them to run a blood sugar test. My blood sugar at that time was 500. It was 350. And you should never be that figure. That was high. So what he did, because he did not have the facilities to take care of me, I was referred immediately to a hospital that could handle that. So ended up spending 3 months in the hospital.
The rise in diabetes in Nigeria is closely tied to shifts in lifestyle and diet. While traditional Nigerian foods are rich in culture, many are high in carbohydrates and sugars. This, combined with an increasing reliance on processed foods and sugary drinks, is fueling a health crisis. As our diets evolve, so too do the risks, putting countless lives in jeopardy.
Well, I don't have the exact figures of the prevalence, but it is now almost an epidemic in Nigeria. And it is a major risk factor for what I do, cardiology, heart attacks, strokes. Majority of the patients who come in with heart attacks and strokes have diabetes. And the reason why the incidence of diabetes has gone up so much is we have developed the bad habits of the West. So a lot of people are overweight. Most of the diabetes in Nigeria is type 2, which is has a direct relationship with weight. So the bigger you are, the higher your chances of developing diabetes. The more sedentary you are, the higher the prevalence. If you have a family history, the higher the chances you get diabetes. So it's quite common now. Very, very common. We are eating badly, we're not exercising, we are overweight, and our eating habits are not the best. When I say food, becoming overweight, whatever type of food you eat puts you at risk. So, and then not exercising also puts you at risk. So if you're prone to it, and then you now gain weight, you don't exercise, you eat all these high carbohydrate foods that predispose you, then you put yourself at risk. Now, the key is not sugar that is the cause of diabetes. A lot of people think, oh, I don't eat sugar, so I can't get diabetes. No, it is not sugar. For people who are prone to diabetes or who have diabetes, what makes their sugar go up is carbohydrates. And it's the refined carbohydrates that get converted to sugar very quickly in the blood. So the bad things, bread, rice, dodo, fried plantain, the ripe one, those are very, very bad for those of us with diabetes. Oh, sugary drinks, yes. Now, one lump of sugar, one cube of sugar in your tea is not going to cause trouble. But when you drink a bottle of Coke, that's 14. Or Sprite, Fanta. Maybe I'm not supposed to name the brands, but any soda, it's about 14 cubes of sugar in them. That's a lot.
14 cubes.
14 cubes, yeah, in a bottle of soft drink. The best treatment for diabetes is not to get it, and it's cheap. All right. Now, sometimes you do everything you can, you still get it, but the best treatment is don't get it. A lot of it is putting on weight. The reason for the epidemic of diabetes in Nigeria is weight, and so best treatment. But yes, the treatment options, there are many, but some of them are very expensive. The most notorious one you've all probably heard of, Ozempic, that's used for weight loss. Its first reason for being approved was diabetes, and they found out you could lose weight. It's now costing about 500,000 naira a month. Not many people can afford that for Ozempic. So yes, many of the drugs, after the first line drugs, second line drugs, the rest are very expensive. Very expensive. Most people's salaries cannot cover the cost. So it becomes a real problem.
For those diagnosed with diabetes, managing the disease is a lifelong commitment. A journey filled with daily medication, constant blood sugar monitoring, and regular doctor visits. Yet, in Nigeria, this essential care comes with a staggering price tag that many cannot afford. The average cost of medication at 150,000 naira per month is more than double the national minimum wage.
Of course, as with every other commodity in Nigeria, the prices of medications have also gone up. The price of medication 6 months ago is not what it is today. So the inflation has also caught up with the health sector. A year ago, Forxiga used to be about 30-something thousand, but today Forxiga is 65,200. Galvosmet is another popular one. Galvosmet sold for less than 30,000. Today is about 40,000 naira. So I think we had the highest jump in insulins because Novomix used to be a full pack of 5 pence should cost about 50,000. But at some point this year, it sold for 102,000. But these days, we sell Novomix for about 85,000 naira for a pack. Well, there are several factors here. There's the factor that we don't produce this here, fluctuating rates of the exchanging dollar to naira. Also, the fact that some pharmaceutical multinationals have left Nigeria, for example, GSK, Sanofi, and most of these companies, they have registered distributors here in Nigeria. Now, these ones have to import themselves. This is always going to affect the cost. A popular medication like Seretide used to be about 7,000 naira for 60 doses. But today, Seretide is selling for 67,500. And one of the reasons why Seretide became very expensive was because GSK left Nigeria, and this skyrocketed the price. There was a bit of scarcity, and then once it became available, the price went up. A very good example is Lantus here. Lantus is made by Sanofi, and Sanofi used to be here in Nigeria, although they used to import directly. But these days, Sanofi is no longer here, and Lantus experienced about 100% increase in the price for a full pack. Okay, sometimes the increased prices comes as a shock to some patients, and some of them intended to buy maybe 3 months worth, and they end up leaving with just 1 month pack, 1 month supply. Sometimes some patients will tell you that they're going to have to come back. In the case of injectables like this, most times patients always want to go with a pack. Maybe a pack will last them for a month or two.
I take two insulin, two different types of insulin, Novomix and Lantus, only because I had an incident sometime last year, so right now I'm both. Lantus is slow acting. It runs throughout the day. It takes about 6 to 12 hours to steady. Then the other one, Novomix, is a quick one when I really need to bring my blood sugar down right now. Maybe I've eaten something that has taken it up and I check, because I can always tell when my sugar level is high, and so I take it to bring it down in the meantime. But Lantus takes a longer time to do its work. A couple of years back, I used to buy Lantus 3,000. Yeah, 3,000, 3,500, between 2,000 and 3,500. And Novomix was between 4,500 and 5,000. It was fine. I could, how it would cost at most, a pack would cost maybe 10,000. Then last year, before February, March, it jumped to about 5,000 for Lantus, 5,000, 6,000 for Lantus, and 6,000, 6,500 for Novomix. Currently, a pack of Novomix costs 153,000, which is, at least that's how much I got it the last time. Lantus costs around 130 to 150. A pack will last between 3 weeks to a month, depending on my numbers and how I'm able to, because I don't have a fixed dosage. I take higher or just slightly lower, depending on my sugar level. So if I'm doing good in a month, it could last a month. But if my sugar level is really high, then 3 weeks, it's gone. 300,000 naira every month, at least thereabouts. That's about 25% of my income. So and that's what should be the money that I set aside to save. So if I spend that on medications, what do I have left to save? What do I have left to eat? What do I have left for for a roof over my head? It's problematic for me, because it means that I'm constantly adjusting my lifestyle because I have to stay alive.
Nigeria's public health infrastructure is struggling, and so quality healthcare remains a privilege of the few, typically found in only private hospitals, leaving the majority of Nigerians without the vital care they desperately need. This inequity not only endangers individual lives, but also threatens the well-being of entire communities. Families across Nigeria are being forced to make heart-wrenching choices between basic necessities and life-changing medication.
Kubeya mshepa na yukosan machimfo dagambala asiviti mala ala mumangu mchiwa shuga helele
makaya mbeche mkuku makaya ma adremenu aje mukundu akwa na ya ngifi du kama okun bala basa ige miye gamta mi ma fale nu mengelo shekoto ma wo bayi mu
isa meshi ma jidamu wa madar ma chiwi ga ma ko fi hasan fi an ga mu mu je fi ko fi za helele